Hi, this is Sibila Extreme Vocal and how to get back to your vocals after a break. Shorter or longer breaks are sometimes impossible to avoid. Holidays, sickness, a lot of work and deadlines in the job, exams to pass, and so on. Each of us have to deal with at least one of those things during the year. And this video will help you to get back as fast as possible to your vocal routine without ruining your voice. The most common mistake causing much frustration and sometimes even pain is to aim for the intensity, volume and the pitch from before the break right away after the break. Even 1 week is enough time for your body to lose some of its strength. So your voice, your muscles, everything needs a gradual adaptation so they would reach the level from before the break. So the worst thing you can do is to expect from your voice, from your body, muscles, breathing and everything else to be on the same level after the break as it was before the break. And the longer your break was, and the more serious was the cause of that break. For example, illness is something different than being on holidays or something like this. The more time your voice needs to fully recover and get back to the best and the highest possible level of performance. The most important thing I can highly recommend you is to start small. In strength sports, there is a concept of deload. Deload is about strategically lowering weight, number of reps and series in a given exercise or exercises over a certain time in order to regenerate our muscles, our body and mind as well. So instead of not training at all, we are training with lesser intensity and volume until we will feel fully recovered. And how you can do a vocal deload? The case is very simple. We just begin with the most basic exercise for a given technique. Fry scream, false chord, distortion, and so on. But before we will start to practice screaming or singing with distortion or any kind of extreme vocal technique, the most important thing is to be properly warmed up. So you can start with breathing exercises. 2 or 3 breathing exercises will be totally enough. You can use exercises like or something like inhale, inhale. You can also practice with an exercise called tired dog. It's about inhaling and exhaling the air without any breaks. While trying to sustain the same tempo and rhythm. If you will fall out from the tempo or rhythm, then interrupt the exercise. It will do nothing good if you start to do it too slow, because it means your body, your muscles are simply tired and they need a break. So you can do that, for example, for 10 or 15 seconds. If you are able to do for 30 seconds, then it means that your condition and stamina is pretty decent. You can also replace the with the hissing sound, and it will be something like so it's exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Of course, those are only examples. You can use any other breathing exercises. For example, on this channel, tempos between 100 BPM and 180 BPMs will be totally fine. After a short breathing warm-up, you can do a short vocal warm-up. You can use exercises from a Zen of Screaming warm-up package or something from Jeff Rolka. You can also do other exercises, for example, yawning. It opens up and stretches our throat, so it can sound like this. Or you can make it sound like soft, rounded, but also confident sound. Ma, 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 ma. You can also play around with the pitch. Ma, 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 ma. You can also do a murmurando, which is about making n or m sound and directing it behind the upper front teeth. Find the most comfortable and natural pitch and the best setting of your voice, where you feel that it resonates as fully as possible, sounds the best, and is the most comfortable. For me, it's somewhere here. After that, you can make a few shouts like ha, ha, hey, hey, ha, hey, ha, hey. Or you can use even falsetto or head voice like woo, wow, ha, woo, wow, ha, ha, hey, ha, ha. You can play around with those little shouts, with the pitch and the intensity. It shouldn't be too loud, it shouldn't be also too quiet. So it's not like ha, because it's too loud, it's too intense, and not ha, ha, because the sound is suppressed. Anyway, try to find the balance and play around with the pitch and different registers. Ha, hey, ha, hey, woo! You can also practice with the piano. If you don't have a one, you can use virtual piano and hit notes around the middle part of your range. Now when you are warmed up, you are ready for a vocal deload. Let's take a false chord technique as an example. We'll start from an exercise that serves for setting the proper placement for our false chord. And it's about making a sound like you wanted to clear your throat or show irritation, like put a finger or two on the upper part of your larynx. The second hand place on your solar plexus. If you feel vibrations in the upper part of your larynx or slightly above the larynx, around here, and you feel that your muscles in the area of your solar plexus or slightly below your solar plexus are tightening a bit, it means that you do it properly. Of course, it has to be also totally comfortable. So if it feels easy, comfortable, and you feel that you use your breath support, there are vibrations in the upper part of your larynx, then your placement is good. And it also means that your coordination between the support, your breathing, and your voice also works properly. You can also decrease the intensity of that sound. It doesn't have to be so heavy like it can be more relaxed, more open, a little bit more breathy. Again, try to find a balance and choose the more comfortable and more effective option. Alright, the next step is to make a sound like you are sighing with a growl, like you are tired and going from being tired to being frustrated and pissed off, like I am showing something like this because it's the way of the sound, its shape or something like this. It's not like it's more like up and forward. Something like this. If it's easy and comfortable, you are ready for the next step. And the next step is to practice with vowels. Don't think too much about the volume, intensity, or the pitch. Try to stick with what's natural and automatic for you. Usually it's around the middle part of your range, very close to your speaking voice. So, in my case, it's like la 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 la, I am talking, and my basic mid growl, it's very natural. I don't think about the intensity, volume, or the pitch. It's just my basic growl. So, try to find your basic growl and let's practice with vowels. A, I, O, U, Y, E. A, I, O, U, Y, E, A, I, O, U, Y, E. You can repeat vowels with your basic growl for a couple of times. And then try to observe which vowel or vowels, one or two, is the easiest one, sounds the best in your opinion, and feels the most comfortable. For example, in my case, it's E and O. E, O. So when you find the most comfortable and the easiest vowels, try to stick with them for a couple of minutes more, like 1, 2, or 3 minutes. E, O, E, O. You can also transit between those two vowels. O, E, O, O, E. Once you nail the easiest vowels, in my case it's E, O, then you can transit from those easier vowels to other vowels. For example, E, I, E, U, E, Y, E, A, or O, U. After that you can do something like A, I, O, U, Y, E. 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 You can also play with the rhythm and tempo so it wouldn't be boring too much. You can practice that for 1 or 2 days more. It will be totally enough. The next step in our practice, of course after a good but not too long, not too intense warm-up, is to start with our basic growl with vowels, the easiest ones. For example, in my case, E and O. So, we are warmed up and we start with E, 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 O, 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 E, O, E, O, O, E, O, E. And we do it for a couple of minutes, like 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 minutes. Observe which time is good enough for you to warm up your false chord. For me, it's around 1.5 minutes. Alright, and the next step is to take lyrics. Some simple lyrics, not too long words, not too long phrases, and not too fast tempo. I would choose personally a song He Who Sleeps by Morbid Angel. So we take the first line, it goes like awaken my brothers. So as you hear, it's a basic and simple shit technically. And we practice with those lyrics word by word. So we go like awaken my brothers. Like awaken my brothers. Alright, so we have the original rhythm, original tempo if the song is not too fast. If it's too fast, then the tempo is slightly decreased. And we do a line word after word, like awaken my brothers. Awaken my brothers. And we repeat it a couple of times. Awaken. If one word is harder than other ones, you can repeat it for a couple of times, like brothers, brothers, brothers. And again, from the beginning, word after word. Awaken my brothers. Once it's good enough and you feel it's easy, comfortable, you can perform a whole line. Awaken my brothers. And you can repeat it a couple of times. Awaken my brothers. Awaken my brothers. Awaken my brothers. Once it's good enough, you do the same with the second line. In He Who Sleeps song, it would be of vengeance we rise. So we try again to nail that line word after word. So it goes like of vengeance we rise. Of vengeance we rise. Once single words are good enough, we do a whole line again. Of vengeance we rise. Of vengeance we rise. Of vengeance we rise. Once they sound good and feel totally comfortable and easy, you are ready to practice with the whole verse. At least try it out. So it goes like awaken my brothers, of vengeance we rise, to divulge this enemy, to enlighten ones who sleep. Awaken my brothers, of vengeance we rise, to divulge this enemy, to enlighten ones who sleep. Alright, this was day 3 or 4 or 3 and 4, depending on the tempo of your progress. Remember to not rush too much, and you can even repeat each day one more time, so day 3 can be also your day 4. When your basic false chord with a basic growl feels totally comfortable and easy, you are ready to play around with the pitch and the intensity. Our plan is similar to what we did previously. We start with a good warm-up, not too long and not too intense. We play around with our mid-growl, basic growl with vowels A, I, O, U, Y, E. And once you feel that your false chord is properly warmed up, now we produce again a mid-basic growl with the easiest vowel, for example E, 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 E. We repeat it a couple of times, and from that point, with each rep, we increase the pitch slightly. Step by step, we slightly increase the pitch. You can repeat each step, each pitch 2 or 3 times, and it can sound like this. E, 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 e. When it starts to sound like then it simply means that you are aiming too high. So make in such a situation a step backwards to a point where you sound good and you feel totally comfortable. So in my case it would be, instead of somewhere here. For the higher pitch, usually E and I vowels are the best, but of course you can try out any other vowel. You can repeat the process 1 or 2 times more. Besides gradually increasing the pitch with each rep, with each sound you produce, you can also start to decrease it once you will get to your current tap. I, 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 and get back to the starting point. Once the highs are good enough, we will do the same with the lows. For the lows, usually vowels like O, U, or I are the easiest one to practice with. Alright, so we begin with a basic mid-growl like O, 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 and we gradually decrease the pitch and darken our voice in order to reach the lowest possible pitch. And it can sound like this. O, 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 O. Once you get your current maximum depth, you can start to gradually increase the pitch and brighten your voice to get to your starting point, your basic mid-growl. You can repeat those slides up and down couple of times more until you will feel you have enough for today. Remember to not overdo your practice. Even 20 or 30 minutes, including your warm-up, is totally enough. But of course, if you feel that you can go for 45 minutes, go for it. But try to not exhaust and destroy your voice. And it was day 5 or 6 depending on the tempo you have chosen for your practice. During the next day we are going to focus on the intensity. So again, we begin from a nice, not too long, not too intense warm-up. Then we play around with vowels and our mid-basic growl. And then we again start with basic mid-growl with the easiest chosen vowel. In my case it would be O, O, O. And while sticking with the same pitch, we try to increase the intensity of our vocals. So you can go from 20% up to 60 or 70%. I don't recommend you to try out 100%, it will be too much, way too much. Stick with the range from 20 to 60, maybe maximum 70%. Alright, so we have vowel O, mid-growl, we stick with the same pitch and we try to increase the intensity with each of rep we do. You can also repeat every step 2 or 3 times if you like it more. O, 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 O. For some people it's natural that as they try to increase the intensity of their vocals, they also increase or decrease their pitch. If something like that appears during your practice, don't bother yourself too much with that, don't worry and just move on. Try to find the most comfortable and the best sounding intensity and stick with it for a couple of minutes. Oh, 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 oh. If you are not tired yet, you can try to use that intensity to play around with different pitches. So let's assume that you are between 40 and 50% of your intensity. So you take that 40 or 50% of intensity gradually higher. Oh, 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 oh. And from the highest point, you gradually go to the starting point. Oh, 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 oh. And now we will do the same with the lows. Oh, 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 oh. As you probably noticed, the lower I go, the more I do something like this. So, even when I am speaking, when I gradually bring my chin not too close, but a little bit closer to my neck, my voice naturally deepens and darkens. And it's a very helpful and natural thing while you are trying to decrease the pitch and darken your growls, or even gutturals using fry-string technique. And it was day 6 or 7, the most important day during your vocal deload, because now you are able to use the most of your vocal range with a pretty solid intensity without devastating your voice. The last day is also very important, but it's like a cherry on top. Our plan is pretty much similar to the previous day. We start from a nice, not too long, not too intense warm-up. We play around with our basic mid-growl with vowels, and then with one vowel or two vowels, for me it would be O and E, we start to gradually increase the intensity from 20 to 50%, like O, 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 O. And we repeat it a couple of times. O, 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 O. When you feel warmed up, then you choose the intensity level between 30% and 50%, and from the basic mid-growl you start to gradually increase the pitch, like O, 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 and then you go to the starting point. O, 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 O. Once you practiced with highs, we do the same with lows. O, 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 O. You can repeat those slides up and down a couple of times more, but not too much, because the next step is to practice with lyrics. You can use the same lyrics as previously. We start with the first line and we repeat it a couple of times using the pitch and intensity that in our opinion sounds the best and is the most comfortable one. Besides using one pitch, one level of intensity, you can use full spectrum of dynamics of your vocals. If vocals in the song originally are going higher, lower, from lows to mids to highs, from highs to lows, and so on, there are different volumes and levels of intensity. You can play around with that too. It's not like you have to stick with intensity between 40 and 50% and mid or high or low pitch. You can use everything you have. Everything that sounds good in your opinion and feels comfortable is good. I will show you an example with the song He Who Sleeps by Morbid Angel. We start with the first line, "Awaken, my brothers," and we repeat it a couple of times. "Awaken, my brothers. Awaken, my brothers." Playing around with different pitches and levels of intensity. "Awaken, my brothers." And when we find the best sound and the highest comfort, we simply turn on the backtrack or instrumental and we practice the whole song. If it sounds good and feels totally comfortable or even easy, your vocal deload is finally complete. And if it doesn't sound as good as you wish or it's not as comfortable as it was previously before the break, you can make one or two steps backwards and focus more on the vowels and practicing with single words and then single lines. You can also try to decrease the intensity and the volume of your vocals and check if it will help you. If it helps, then you can stick with that lowered volume and intensity for a couple of days more. And when you will feel that you are ready, you can start to gradually increase them again. Also remember that it doesn't have to last only 1 week. It can be even 2 weeks or 1.5 weeks or something. The longer is your break and the more serious is the cause of that break. For example, sickness. The longer, the more time you will need to fully recover your vocals and get back to your normal pre-break vocal routine. And remember about that, there's no rush. Your range, your power, your volume will sooner or later get back to you. Don't try to force it, don't try to rush. Everything will be fine. With the fry scream, it works pretty much the same. We start from a basic exercises, even with a vocal fry like and so on. We build our way to the fry noise like or a basic fry scream like wow, wow. It doesn't have to be too powerful, it doesn't have to be high or very low. Use your natural pitch, your natural sound color and intensity. Once you get it, practice with vowels. A, ah, A, I, O, U, Y, A, I, O, U, Y, E, A, I, O, U, Y, E. Choose the most comfortable one, the easiest one, and from that vowel, transit into other vowels. For example, I, O, I, E, I, U, I, Y, I, A, I, O, and so on. Then you can play around with your pitch and intensity. Start with the easiest vowel, for example, I. Still, basic fry scream, nothing very heavy, loud or powerful. just some basic shit. I, and start to gradually increase the pitch. I, 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 I. And from the higher pitch, go to the middle basic pitch. I, 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 I. Once you will practice with the higher pitch, you can do the same with the lower pitch. Besides the pitch, you can also play around with the intensity of your fry scream. And you can practice that even for 2 or 3 days more. Only vowels, different levels of pitch and intensity, until you'll feel totally comfortable and it will feel easy for you. The next step is to take lyrics and practice with them word after word, line after line, verse after verse, until you'll feel fully recovered and ready to nail songs as you did before the break. Alright, so that's how you can get back your vocals, your intensity, power and the range after a break, shorter or longer one. I hope that this video and this method will be helpful for you. Personally, I had many times that I was forced to have a break, to take a break from vocals, and this really helped me to get back on the proper track as soon, as fast as possible, without forcing, exhausting and devastating my voice. Alright, take care and have a great day, have a great practice. Cheers and love, fuckers!